Yes, it is true that tiny kernels of poop will make it through these half-inch size holes, but I want to show you that nonetheless they will still be easy to find, retrieve, and dispose. It will still be on the very top when we sift all of the contents. And so what you want to do is you want to go slowly. Lift it up only as fast as the pile underneath it builds. And this will minimize any potential dust if you're using a litter that creates dust. So there's the kernel. I'm not sure if you saw it. It fell through. So the larger pieces will always be last or next to last when sifting. So this bigger item, this little kernel of poop, came out last because everything is compact and shoving each other to get through these doorways. So the small things are going to go through first as everything is shoving each other to go through, and the large pieces will come out last.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look, the cat is here to see.
Then
Look.
you can take a shovel and you can retrieve that one tiny piece.
Tiny.
Or if you need, you can just scoop the whole thing.
Tiny.
And it's so big it can't go through these doors at all. All done. Easy peasy.
I like how it's blue.
You like how it's blue?
Yeah.
It looks pretty, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Alright, hello friends, Pongyo Hao, Byromi here. We are going to finally do a review of the Fresh Step Premium Crystals. This is by a Clorox company. At the introduction of this video was a demonstration using this litter, using my tilt and sift litter box. We are actually at a location where the very first video and demonstration and DIY of my invention, the tilt and sift litter box, was shown at this location. It is now being constructed into a public viewpoint. And that video that I made probably gave people a view of this area from this viewpoint more than any other video on the internet, I bet. The reason for the delay of this video and other videos is I've not only been sick twice, but 3 and 4 times. That's just the nature of having a big family and being busy, but I have 2.5 weeks off of work. So we're gonna catch up on these videos. All right, so the crystals, we're also going to talk about crystals in general, known as silica gel. We're gonna talk about, I don't have a bag of the loop litter, 4 different crystal silica gel litters, mostly pertaining to the use of the Fresh Step Premium Crystals. We've now moved to the entrance of the construction site of the viewpoint. Workers are coming in for the day. But we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty right off the bat about these litters before I show you some of the results and the experiences that I've had later in the video. So, regards to silica gel in general, all of these crystal litters, all of the silica gel litters, all do fantastic in odor control, up to the point that they are oversaturated. And that's the thing that I'll be showing you later in the video, is what to look for in the oversaturation, particularly pertaining to this litter. Fresh Step Crystals has a slight fragrance. If you don't like fragrances, I found out that I personally don't like fragrant litters. Give it a shot because it's very mild. You probably won't notice it. It's also blue. You can see the blue coloring. When it gets oversaturated, it leaches out the blue coloring into the litter box and stains it. I'll show you that later. So I was concerned about those 2 things. What are the chemicals in the fragrance and the coloring? I emailed the company, which happens to be the parent company Clorox, and they redirected me to a third party which handles all of their consumer complaints and concerns about chemicals, and talking. I think her name was Emily. I might have forgot. She was very cordial and nice to talk to. I wish I would have recorded that phone call, but she told me that the only ingredient that they can mention is those that are known to be hazardous, which is the main ingredient, which is silica gel. Silica gel is a man-made porous sand. All of these are made in China. Now, silica gel is the same thing that's inside shipping of many products to absorb extra moisture. It's a desiccant, and that's what desiccants do. They absorb moisture. You find them in electronics and shoes and other things, and there's little packets labeled "do not eat." You do not eat them because you'll get dehydrated like eating any other sand. Another danger of eating them is any chemicals that might have been added to them, or chemicals that they have absorbed in transport from the items that are being shipped with these packets. So you don't want to eat it, and you also do not want to inhale it. It's known to be a hazard for inhaling. It's going to be even more dangerous inhaling it when it's absorbed chemicals. So that's probably why, if you've seen my video of pretty litter at the kitchen table in my 9 litters review, it seemed like it was dust free. But in the litter box, I noticed that it was actually generating a lot of dust. It was just very translucent, very lightweight, and disturbed my lungs personally quite a bit. And I think that's just the nature of it being silica gel and also absorbing urine into the dust potentially. So that's the biggest thing you need to look out for, in my opinion, when using any crystal litters, is the presence of dust and inhaling the dust, because prolonged exposure to inhaling silica gel is a known hazard. Don't eat it, don't breathe it. Hazards out of the way. Fresh Step Crystals was the largest grain of the 4 that I tested, and I think because of that it did the best in tracking. Litters that have larger, coarser materials are going to track less. That's why wood pellets is so popular, because it doesn't track at all. But it's so big, my cats won't use it. My cats had no problem adapting to this at all. The coarseness is about the same as Dr. Elsie's, which they've used most of their life. The smaller the grain, like pretty litter, it's going to be Traximus maximus. It's going to be going all over the place. So if you don't have some kind of system, some kind of special mat, or you're not cleaning every day, you're going to have litter everywhere. But this, it didn't track too bad. All litter is going to track a little bit. My tilt and sift litter box design can sift and hold a larger volume and weight than any other litter box that I know on the market. I put 1.5 plus bags into my litter box. It lasted 5 weeks until it finally showed signs of oversaturation and bleeding of the blue coloring mentioned at the bottom of the box. This bag mentions to put only 2 inches in the box. You need to put 3 or 4, like most any other litters. If there's pooling at the bottom of the box and oversaturation happening, there's one of 3 things that needs to happen. You should have added more litter, you need to clean it more often, once or twice a day, or you need to throw it out. It's just plain oversaturated and there's nothing you can do. This is one of the litters I've tested so far that I liked a lot. I'll probably go back to it after testing some more. I do not recommend, however, the Vibrant Life or Loop. They're far too dusty, and Loop is way too expensive, and the color change technology does not work, unlike Pretty Litter. So if you really want something that's not so coarse and or has the color change technology to track your cat's health, then Pretty Litter is really the only option. Enjoy the rest of this video, and I'll see you for the next one, sooner rather than later. In regards to tracking and dust, the larger materials eventually will break down and create more dust, so all litters with use, as they're being dug in and scooped and sifted and pooped and peed on, they're going to break down, they're going to create more smaller particles and potentially dust. So that's something you got to look out for in any litter. This is the fresh step litter. I was beginning to sift it out, and we have pooling of urine at the bottom, evidence of urine. Also, there is breakdown of the litter into dust. So this fresh step litter also produces some lightweight dust eventually, just as Pretty Litter does. I just learned that Pretty Litter has a clumping version. I might have to try that later. So if you really like crystal-based litters and you don't want or need the color change technology from Pretty Litter and looking for something cheaper, this is a really great option, and it'll work in just about any litter box. Crystal litters, Schoon litter, Pretty Litter, all these litters that are use all at once, throw away all at once litters, I personally believe work best if you are cleaning the litter box more than once a day, or if you can put 3 or more inches of the litter in the box. If it is not stirred and allowed to air, you'll eventually have urine pool at the bottom or just pool into specific spots. So after using 3 different litters, yes, I even used the loop litter from my 9 litter reviews, the one that failed the most dusty and the most expensive, and does not actually tell you your cat's health through color change technology. It is the finest of all 3, and that is why I think it is the most dusty. Pretty Litter proved to be a bit dusty, and my personal experience, it is really fine as well, and breaks down just as this stuff is. This stuff is really coarse, and I just pointed out how it is getting dusty as well. I just took a picture and I just scraped the crystals that were stuck to the bottom, and this urine stain with what looks to be some of the coloring from the crystals has bled into the urine puddle on the bottom of the box. I emptied this litter box about 4 hours ago this morning. I was going to change it out to Tofu Kitty Club, but I just did not have the time this morning, so I was going to do it just now, and I have a bit of a pee stain here. You can see some of the crystals that have turned into dust that are stuck there. And after a while, when this litter is used, it begins to turn yellow, like pretty much any of the other crystal litters. Change it out right now! I want another litter to try. Soon enough, Buttercup, soon enough. Here's a closer look at the inside. All of the blue that has affected the inside of the box. You can still see a little bit of the urine there trying to dry up. And there's just a coating of blue and dust everywhere in the box. Using baking soda and a scrub brush and water, I washed out my litter box outside, but you can see that there are a few blue stains in this box left over from the blue fresh step crystals. So the dyes that they use in the crystals is even more concerning to me, that it's staining the plastic. This litter box is really old. It's the one that was featured in my video on how to make it. It may be time to refresh and make another one, or at least the outside shell might have to be replaced. The sifting basket, you can see a few of the same stains from the blue, but it still functions. It still does the trick. And we're not going to put... I've decided that I'm not going to put Tofu Kitty Club in this box specifically because it's green. I want to be able to see the contrast of the green Tofu Kitty Club litter against my blue litter box. So I'll be putting Tofu Kitty Club in the blue litter box, and then I'm going to be putting the Litter Made Premium Corn Cob litter from my secret litter box into this litter box for the remaining of the test and for the sake of videos. So we'll see you on that review and Tofu Kitty Club review. Lots of litters. It's gonna take a while.